It sounds ominous. The animal digester. What is that? It's a machine at the State Science Lab that's supposed to be used to be sure that animal carcasses infected with deadly diseases like plague are destroyed without exposing the rest of us to those diseases. But News 13 investigative reporter Larry Barker found a couple of problems. It doesn't work, and it's costing you a fortune. A warning, some of this video is disturbing.
This strange contraption may be the most bizarre project in all of New Mexico. Hidden away inside a specially constructed chamber, it appears to be something out of this world. And even though it costs more than $1 million, it is in fact nothing more than a worthless heap of scrap metal.
It's an unbelievable situation.
Ground zero for this mysterious device is the newly constructed State Scientific Laboratory in Albuquerque. Completed 2 years ago, New Mexico's State Lab is among the most sophisticated facilities in the country. David Mills is lab director.
We work to protect the public from biological and environmental hazards to their health. The activities here touch the lives of pretty much everybody in the state.
Scientists here investigate everything from flu epidemics to water pollution. And lab research is not limited to human health. For example, if rainbow trout are infected with whirling disease, it could wipe out an entire population of game fish. Or a cow suspected of hoof and mouth would be devastating to the cattle industry. And prairie dogs would be examined here if they are suspected carriers of plague. That brings us to this device. Because scientists here deal with some pretty nasty stuff like anthrax, you can't just dump a diseased animal carcass in the landfill. So the lab is outfitted with this handy-dandy biological mass energy extraction and recovery device, otherwise known as an animal digester. What in the world is an animal digester? Agriculture Director Jeff Whitty explains.
A big heated pressure cooker that takes animal parts, carcasses, with a solution, heats it up to a 305-degree temperature, and basically digests it down into a sterile slurry.
It costs taxpayers $800,000 to plan, design, construct, and install this complex machinery on 2 floors of the state lab. The project was completed 2 years ago. So how's it working? Well, it's not. In fact, it's never worked. You see, as the equipment was being installed, the manufacturer went bankrupt. So the state paid another firm $500,000 to try and fix it. That, too, was a failure. Today, New Mexico's $1.3 million investment is worthless. Secretary Whitty found out shortly after being named Agriculture Secretary.
I said, what? I was upset. We had a brand new building, and we had a very critical part of our part of the building that would not work.
So what do you do with a $1 million animal digester that doesn't work? eBay? Craigslist? No, you just throw it away. You see, the legislature is being asked for another $2.6 million to buy a new one. And that request includes $1 million to tear out the old one. By the time the state lab has a working digester, taxpayers will have shelled out some $4 million.
I'm angry at the what happened and how it happened. But there's nothing I can do about that today. My obligation today is to protect the health and welfare of the citizens and the industries in the state of New Mexico. $4 million is a hefty price tag, but the cost of not having it could far exceed that.
Chuck Guerra heads up New Mexico's Property Control Division. Does somebody owe taxpayers an apology for this thing?
I think the manufacturer certainly does.
And it's not just animal digesters. You see, even though this $86 million laboratory is brand new, there were some critical items that were overlooked. For example, the floor in the veterinary lab is flat when it should be sloping.
Since it opened, it has been a problem.
This is not the way it's supposed to work, is it, Chuck?
No. The floor was designed to be flat, and I'm still unclear as to why that was specified that way.
Cost to repair? $100,000. If one of the exhaust fans in this biohazardous lab goes down, technicians will have to vacate. Cost to repair, $800,000. In the summer months, the building climate controls don't maintain the humidity within required EPA regulations.
This has to be fixed.
Correct.
Repair cost, $100,000. All the signs in the building are paper labels taped to doors. Cost to put up permanent signage, $100,000. If there's a power failure here, the backup generator will kick in. But because somebody forgot to install a power filter on the backup, a spike in electricity could damage sensitive instruments.
This was something that was overlooked when the building was designed. How'd that happen, Chuck? Any idea?
No, sir, I don't.
Cost to install a backup generator power filter, $360,000. The list of flaws in this 2-year-old building go on and on. Legislators are being asked to authorize more than $5 million in repairs. John Arthur Smith chairs the Senate Finance Committee.
When you have to come up with additional dollars to retrofit and redo what should have been done correctly in the first place on a brand new facility, it is a little bit concerning to the taxpayer, it should be, to the taxpayer of the state of New Mexico.
So the taxpayers will be paying for it. And I've been a taxpayer in the state of New Mexico for 41 years, but I've only been a property control for less than 2. Am I happy about it? No, I'm not. But my job is to take what we have today and try to correct it.
Public has to be very frustrated because we've had a lot of indiscretions in the past that should not have happened but did happen, and we just don't have the resources to continue to do business the same way we've always done it.
In the coming weeks, the legislature will consider the lab's $5 million repair tab. The biggest chunk will go towards a new animal digester.
The new one will work?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to make sure it's done right this time. That's my promise and guarantee.
Larry Barker, KRQE News 13.
That was hard to digest.
Yes, no doubt about it.